Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Justin Deese.
Welcome to Freedom Blueprint Podcast, your podcast to help you move your business. And we're going to do that today by talking with Stephanie Postell from Anchor Heating and Air out of, I can't say it without saying it with an accent, Charleston, South Carolina. And we're going to talk a little bit today about what your journey, yours and David's journey has looked like in the business. There's some other things that you're doing outside of the day-to-day of the running of the business that we're going to talk about. But before we jump into all that stuff, welcome and thank you for coming and hanging out.
I know. I feel like this has been a long time coming, so I'm so glad to finally be here.
So Stephanie was at the event we had a couple of weeks ago now, and we kept saying, "All right, we're gonna do a live podcast at some point." And every time I set the equipment up, I had some kind of technical issues. Such is life. We really should have just turned on the camera and rocked with it, but that's okay.
Right.
We're here now. We're hanging out. So let's talk a little bit about Anchor and tell us a little bit about what that business looks like right now.
Well, we are about 3.5 years in. We are on track to do $9 million this year in our basically fourth year. It looks like 27 employees who are amazing high achievers, who are bought into the vision, come to work most days, like all of us, ready to do work. And they're a blessing. So it's been a really fun journey for David and I, not without a lot of hard work, a little bit of heartache, and a lot of lessons, but definitely something a place that we enjoy to come every day, and hopefully a place that we're creating where all of our employees feel the same.
Well, and that's so there's some leadership nuggets in that you just said that was just as you talk about the business, right? Like you create a culture where you like to be at work, then so do other people. And there's a lot of business owners that, and listen, I was like in my first business, I can remember being at a point where I didn't like going in, and nobody else liked being there either. So it was like, if I don't want to be here, nobody else wants to be here.
Right. And why aren't we doing well? Well,
yeah. We're crappy. We're not making any money. Everybody hates their job, and nobody hates more than me.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But no, that's great. So how did you guys, tell us a story about Anchor and how you guys even got started or even in the industry?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've shared my troubles a few times, but David and I were both in the industry. I had lots of other jobs and careers before that just led me to HVAC, and I had gotten a job doing marketing and business development for a company in Charleston where the owner had bought 3 companies, put them all together, and actually had joined Nexstar and was decided that he wanted somebody to help implement that in the business to do it properly. And it was not something that I was interested in. I didn't even know what HVAC was, but I have a long history of kindergarten and first grade teacher, and I was a personal trainer, and I had been an entrepreneur, and I love marketing. And so really all of those things came together, and I learned a lot at that job. I started there doing the sales or the marketing and business development, and that became operations manager, because when you're going through and implementing those processes and procedures throughout the business, you become the person that is, doing the operations. And so we were started that company it was about 4 million at that time when they all came together. And when I got fired, it was 14 million. So there's always a story behind the story. It was a great 7 years. I learned a ton, and it was time for me to move on at that point. And David actually worked there too at the time. I always have to tell he was married, I was married, we weren't together, we got divorced separately, and then we started dating. And so it was just that was God's providence putting that man in my life. It has been such a blessing to me. And it also helped me get through getting fired from a job that I was in love with, thought I would retire from, silly enough as it sounds. And when I lost that job, of course, about 3 months later, they fired him too. And again, then it just put us on this path eventually to get to Anchor. But from that, we got connected with a business investor, and he wanted to start a home services business. We knew how to do that. We had all the connections. He wrote the check. We got married, went on our honeymoon, came back and opened that company, and then COVID happened 2 weeks later. So it was quite the challenge. We went home for a minute, and then, as you know, as we were all deemed essential, we worked our butts off for the next 2 years. And we were able to do a couple small acquisitions, but we were running a great company. We were profitable as far as I know, because that's the other little bit part of the story that I don't know the answer to. But I know well enough that we were able to buy a couple small companies, and we grew that company to 5 million in under 20 months. So it was another great experience. 23 employees at that point, 500 5-star reviews in the first 2 years. We owned a small percentage of it, but not enough to keep him from firing us and taking the company. So he did that, and we had no plan that we were going to leave that company because, again, we were the face of it. As far as everybody knew, we were the owners of it. And we got fired on a rainy Wednesday and got $300 on Friday, and we were like, what next? It's Christmas. We have vacation planned that we haven't taken in 2 years. And now we are defamed across our city that we have grown up in. And people think that we stole from a company that we no former fashion had done anything like that. But you know what? It was just all part of that plan. And again, it was God's hand in saying, you can do this on your own. I needed to get you away from what was going on here that you thought was great, but you didn't know wasn't. And so we went to church. We went to a Christmas church. We cried. We had a lot of people that supported us. And I looked at David and I was like, what are we going to do? And David said, we're going to go put in air conditioners. And so we did. And thank goodness for that. Again, it's always been, our partnership has been pivotal in our success together. And my sister sent us a quote that said, as long as we were anchored in the Redeemer, then it didn't matter what was going to happen. And I told David, we're going to be Anchor Heating and Air. He held the license of the last company, so we just moved that license to the new company, and we opened up. We had $2,000 that we took and bought the first piece of equipment, and we rolled that into the next one. I very thankfully was able to get a job with Contractor Commerce at the beginning, that I could work from home and work with contractors while David was out, putting in air conditioners. I could do marketing morning, noon, at night, and get things rolling. And there started Anchor. And from then on, it's been like, drinking from a water hose. We've been so blessed that people that knew us They followed us, they found us. I found a way to put our faces on billboards so people could find where we were, and did some great marketing, did some great social media, and all of that, and here we are. We were able to do, I think we did 1.4 the first year, we did 2.8 the second, 6.5 last year, and our plans are for 9 this year. It's been a
Perseverance. That's a pretty
Absolutely.
inspiring story. A lot of times you hear stories about, setbacks and people who break through it and win. And then you hear stories about people hit setbacks and they're like, it just wasn't meant to be. And you guys just ramping through that is pretty awesome. And here's the thing is I can picture David, you like, what are we going to do? And David like, "Nah, put in ACs. Like just,
Right.
well, we're just going to go put in ACs. Like, what do you mean? Of
Yeah,
course.
right. What do you mean? And listen, that's taking out the part of this story where all we had was my Tahoe, that we were on the way to church and the transmission died, and then we got my our son's truck, and then his truck died, and we were like, what is going on here, right? So it's all those things, but yes, we are very tested to this point that there's not much that scares us.
Yeah, the good for you guys for forging ahead. I'm sure that there was many a times that you were like, we could just go get another job
Yeah,
and just call that good.
yeah. But I
But then
think
you
that's
also
part
have
of the
that,
story. Yeah, that's the obedience part of it though, because I think that's what we thought the first 2 times, right? Like, let's just go get another
right?
job. And I think we weren't obedient, and then we finally were. And so then it was like, no matter what, like, you've got to do this. And so, here we are.
I mean, traditionally, entrepreneurs make terrible employees.
No doubt.
That's just how that works. That's why
That's it.
we're just built different,
Yeah.
and that's such a good story. And
Yeah.
again, I think it's inspiring for you guys to have gone through that and come out the other side, and amazing and impressive over the growth of the last, just not even 4 years at this point. So, what are some things that you've really contributed your success to? Like, what are some things that you guys have focused on to grow that quickly?
I mean, obviously, our marketing has been a huge thing for us. We have really anchored ourselves in the community. Because and I also share this a lot of times with some of the other entrepreneurs and contractors that I'm lucky enough to mentor, and really say, like, my story might not be your story, right? Because yes, I can give you my playbook, but things that you don't take into account, like, David and I have lived in Charleston, South Carolina our whole lives. I had multiple businesses prior to getting into HVAC where I was in the community, giving back to the community. I was a PTA mom for 15 years. Like, you make lots of friends that way, right?
Yeah.
Like, I've always been into branding. And, I remember a friend of mine walking up in a bar to me one time, and he's like, so what company are we supporting now? Like, what are you doing? So we'll know which one we're supporting now. And so I'm a brander. I'm a loyal brander that way. So those are things that that we have done the whole way through, and I feel like just knowing the value of that. The other part I would say is that you have to give back to get back. And
Yeah.
we have always done that. As soon as we opened, we didn't have much money, but I called up my teacher friends, and I was like, what PTA needs a birthday cake for all the teachers next month? Who needs biscuits for the next faculty meeting? Right? Like, you have to go back to your roots in those areas, and those people are like, oh, they gave us a biscuit, I'll call them for my maintenance. It doesn't have to be big billboards or direct mail campaigns or all that kind of stuff. When you're small, you can't do that, right?
Right.
And sometimes it's just about being the place that looks like they're giving back to the community. And that doesn't mean monetarily, that means being the vehicle for being part of the community. So, those kinds of things have really been the cornerstone, and we still do that. We have a great concert venue here in Charleston on Daniel Island. We sponsor all the pre-parties, and that's on the radio. But when you go to the pre-parties, either we're there, or our blow-up van is there, or now our marketing manager is there with our table and our tent. So you are putting faces with the name that you hear all the time. I think that's just the difference maker, right? Especially in an industry now that is so full of private equity and corporations and all of that. People are dying to do business with local people. They want to know that when they call, if they don't get the service that they think they're supposed to get, they can talk to David or I. Which sometimes is good and sometimes is not good, because we might tell you about yourself, you know? So that's been a huge thing, I think, in all of those trials and tribulations that we went through. It helped us realize who we are and who we're not, and who our customer is and who our customer isn't. And I feel like there's been like really like, I don't want to say they're light bulb moments. I think they're like windows that opened and you're like, oh, we're this now, because really having that service aspect and that being truly authentic, and that is who we are, we've woven that into our company, right? Like our whole mission is, we provide solutions for comfort, opportunities for growth, and service to our community. Like that's it. That's all we have to do. And so that then has brought people to us that are like, I want to give back. I want to do that. I want to do heating and air. But what does it look like to be able to give back to the community as well? So,
I mean, for sure, people do business, and I think it's easy to get stumbled up on this, which is why people just pay an obscene amount of money to Google at every turn. Is people do people with, business with people they know, they like, and they trust.
absolutely.
And by doing things like what you just talked about of, making a cake. I mean, when you're starting out, typically what you have more than anything else besides ambition is you have time.
Yes.
Versus when you're in business now. So now for you guys, you're going to have more money than you are time. But when you're first getting started, I think that's a great strategy, is utilize your time and utilize what you have as a resource, which is time and connection.
Well,
I think it's great for a guy to be like, what are we supporting now? And you're like, Anchor.
Anchor, right? Anchor all the way, right? But also like being really careful about being where your intended customer is, right? So I wanted to be at like, where are the people drinking wine? Where are the people that are, going to concerts? Where I want to be where people have extra money that they are then seeing, me and seeing my value and getting to know us. I think you can, again, like you said, when you're just starting out, you think, okay, I got to pay a bunch of money on Google. I got to send out a bunch of postcards, all this stuff that is like literally, over our time, I have spent less than $7,000 on Google PPC in 4 years. And that was the first stupid thing I did like 3
Wait.
years ago.
Wait, I want you to repeat that for people that were like running, but they weren't really paying attention. Because I
Right.
think that is a really, really, really good gold moment that you just said.
Yeah. Less than $7,000. And that is because one weekend it was going to get hot and I was stupid and I called Eric Thomas and I said, I think I want to do PPC. And he said, are you sure about that? And I said, yes, absolutely. And I did it and I got nothing out of it. And I said, I will never spend that money again. And I have not. We do not do PPC. I would rather go spend that money on real lottery tickets because I think I would win more. And it just is not a part of our marketing. Now, that to be said, we are Google guaranteed. We do LSA.
Right.
Those are a different kind of ad, or not ad. You have to do good to get on those ads, and we do good, and we get great reviews, and we respond to them, and we do what's right, and all of that stuff. But I just don't spend the money on PPC. I can't outspend the people in my market that have an unlimited budget. Why would I do that? So I can do what they can't do and sponsor the pre-parties. I can give to the baseball team or the soccer team or the teachers and go there and meet those people, because I can tell you there's nobody at those firms that are going over there and doing any of that. Because the other thing is, if I'm sponsoring the soccer team, like, I'm actually going to go to a game and bring snacks and, and pearls and sunglasses and, show the parents that we're real people, not just, the name on the shirt. So, but again, that goes back to time, and you have to make time to do that kind of stuff. But man, has it paid off, right? Like that girls soccer coach, she's a customer of ours still. The guys soccer coach, still a customer of ours. We actually sponsored it because it was a neighborhood that we dominate, right? And so I put a thing in the neighborhood group and I said, I'm looking to sponsor soccer teams or baseball teams. Anybody, have one of those?
I bet there was no shortage of hands raised.
Oh man, I could have sponsored 10 of them, right? But we sponsored 5. We sponsored the Lego team, all those things. And that makes the difference. To be able to, and then, I know we'll talk a little bit more about it, but talk about social media content. Like that
was going to be my question was, okay, so not spending PPC, what is it that we're doing in order to create that traffic? So perfect segue.
Yeah, it's, the social media aspect. And to be very honest, I haven't spent a whole lot of money on ads on Facebook or anything like that either. We are very consistent that we keep several ads going, but it's not lead generators. It's not that fill out this form. Actually, we just started doing that in the last week or so. I don't even think I've gotten one. I'd rather have sponsored posts and stuff that just pop up, because I know the value of branding, and I have my brand everywhere. So, kind of goes back to the same thing with, we started direct mail this year, but this is our 4th year. We have laid this whole branding foundation so that when people got our postcards, or now when people, they see us on Facebook and see those ads, they already know our brand. So then now they can make the connection. The social media side, we take pictures of everything, we post everything, whatever give back we're doing. And it's not self-promotion in that aspect, especially when we're doing a service event. To me, it's about being the light in the community and challenging other people to step up and do the same thing, right? Because if I don't share what I'm doing, then you don't see that I'm doing that, and I don't need to do. I already know that I'm doing it for the right reason, right? But what I want to do is exponentially increase what I'm able to do. And if I can get 10 companies out there that are like, oh yeah, we give back to the community too. Well, for what reason? I'm not sure. You have to deal with that. But you're giving back to the community, and I know the community needs that, and that's because you're trying to keep up with me. Perfect. I love that. Because we're just extending our reach and giving back to Charleston, which, has given so much to us.
So many home service business struggle with not the giving back, but the talking about it.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate, because they're like, well, yeah, we give this to this, and but they don't ever really promote it or talk about it. And
Right.
and I get it. It's because we're all built a little bit different, and
100%.
we all do this from a care and love in place,
We
but
do.
we forget
We need to be the
you're letting the
example.
world know what you're, not even what you're doing, but more about what you're sponsoring and what give back. People may not know
Well, right. I mean,
about that
because if I'm
organization.
supporting the breast cancer, group, we have a couple local ones. My friend Kelly Carroll I call her the community CEO, because she does so much stuff in our community, and so I was like, help me know which, where the need is, and so that's one of those things though that you don't realize, is that yes, I'm doing that because they need my help, but me posting about that organization then puts that organization in front of all of my people, right?
Yep.
So we're just trying to, it's help that they don't have the ability to market and to get in front of people. And so there's real value in that too. And in that way, it's not self-promotion, it's using your platform to increase what those organizations could get back.
Yeah, and most of those organizations, that's really what they want is more awareness. I mean, you're doing them a
Absolutely.
favor when you're not only are you giving them money and time, but now when you're talking about it, you're creating a whole different awareness. And for most, especially most nonprofit organizations, they don't have a ton of money for marketing budgets.
That's right.
So the more you're posting and talking about it,
Yeah.
it really just helps them. So you're just think about it like you're doing them a favor versus secretly being a good human, which we all want to be good humans, but also share that with other people as well.
100%. And I think the byproduct of that obviously is showing people who we are as a company, but it comes back to the culture aspect of showing our people who we are, right? It's showing our
Yeah.
team who we are. And so then we've been very blessed that to be that example, and then now have our employees come back and say, "Hey, I have this thing that I want us to support. Can we support that?" Absolutely. Hey, and I want to lead our team in that. Okay, right? Like, say no more. If you're gonna, help everybody raise money to, buy Thanksgiving dinner, then let's go for it, right? And so then now you're committed not to Anchor because you want to be a HVAC technician. You want to work here because we're a company that gives back and allows you to go do that on company time and share what good things come from that. So I think that was the other part, back to probably what you asked at the beginning. That's the culture aspect. That is to me creating a culture of service to our community. But how are we growing our people and growing a mission that they can be proud to be part of
They can go make a dollar anywhere,
anywhere?
and if you can give them an opportunity to, um, obviously they need to make profit. They need to be making
Absolutely.
money, but they
Right.
also need to feel like there's a purpose behind it too. I think that's a great thing. Now, before we shift gears, I do want to have you talk a little bit about how you guys are utilizing social media for recruiting,
Yeah.
because I think you
Well,
guys are doing an incredible job with that, and we could go deep, deep, deep into that. But just
right.
from a high level, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that we have really embraced TikTok as my favorite. Knowing what platform to put what on is a skill, first of all.
Yeah.
So there are things that I might put on TikTok that maybe are a little edgier or something that I wouldn't necessarily put on Facebook, and it's not inappropriate. It's just a different audience.
Right.
But I realized at really not I was on TikTok before my kids were. And listen, my kids are 22, and 25 now, and I remember them saying, "Oh my god, nobody's on TikTok." And I was like, "Okay, no worries, we'll see." But I realized early on that technicians were on TikTok videoing themselves and what they were doing each day as they were fixing things, talking about customers, talking about experiences. I remember one guy, he was just on live all day. And people just rode along with him, and other technicians were interacting with him, and I was like, there's something to this, right?
Yeah.
And so I think really that's where it started. One, just to want to give everybody, customers or whoever, a little behind the scenes of who we were. We could be funny, we could do all those things. We could be educational, spread the word about stuff that people don't know. But then we realized that we were engaging with the technician community, and they were seeing what we were doing. And that was a game changer. And the real first thing was when we were I think we were in our second year, and we had branded with Dan Antonelli in October, November of our first year. And one of the TikToks I had done was the choices. He gave us 4 choices. And so I posted about the 4 choices. And so we had a guy that came in and interviewed with us. And in part of our interview, I always say, listen, we're on social media. You got to be comfortable with that. You might have to do one. You might have to be in one. And he said, oh, I know. I follow you on TikTok. And I said, really? I said, what do you know? And he was like, I picked choice number 4 for your logo. And I was like, all right. Well, there's actually a van right outside that I'm going to need to get in and
Let me
be
get
in.
your
And
shirt.
it's here. I already got all the swag for you. But I think that part really showed that people were watching us that we didn't know were watching us.
Yes.
So that was a huge one, and I know that had something to do with him coming here and interviewing with us. The second one was that the one time David and I have gone live on TikTok, we had a great time. We interacted with people. It was really cool. And then I had somebody that put in their resume, actually posted in some of the industry Facebook groups, which was a smart thing, because then people tagged me as somebody who was in Charleston and gave me that resume. So I reached out to the guy. I was like, oh, whatever, come in for an interview. Went through the whole interview. He's great. We were talking about everything. And I said, we're on social media. And he said, yeah. He said, you would know me as Charleston HVAC on TikTok. And I was like, a month before on that live, he had interacted with us the entire time on that live. And he said, yeah, he said, I'm going to have to work here because my former company got tired of me saying, at Anchor, they do it like this. And how would he know how Anchor did it if he didn't watch our TikTok and know what we were doing? So if you have a great culture and you're creating a great culture and you can show who you are behind the scenes, your technicians want to date you before they even ask you out. And that's how you give them the opportunity to do that. And by the time they show up for the interview, like if they're great people and they have been doing that, they're going to be a great fit for you. And that's really the biggest thing, that recruiting has done a huge thing. Besides, obviously we've gotten great customers. There's a whole other aspect of Facebook and Facebook groups, and I still to this day spend a lot of time with moms who have problems with their HVAC, and I'm right on there and give them a big write up and offer to help them for free. I would much rather spend my time and effort with that than spending my money on Google. And that's really how we have leveraged Facebook and on all social media to really help us.
Yeah, I think the miss that most companies have is they get on there and they just post ads.
Yes.
And they post ads and they forget the entire purpose of social media is to be social.
Yes.
It's to be entertained.
That's right.
And that's what you guys do a very good job of. Is there's this, like you guys had a video the other day of David just randomly calling text like, hey, I hope you had a good day. It was hilarious.
It was so weird.
There wasn't anything. It wasn't talking about Anchor or nothing, but you got your logo there. People are watching the video. It was very entertaining.
Right.
Right. And all of a sudden it's entertainment, but now there's that branding side of it. And I mean, that video took 10 minutes to make, 5 minutes to post. So 15 minutes in, and I've seen some of your videos that you guys have posted. There's you get millions of views.
One of the video that went viral was it was raining and David and Haley were in the warehouse wrapping ductwork, and I literally videoed it. I sped it up and I posted it, and it got 1.4 million views the first time. It got 400,000 the second time I posted it, and literally every day somebody likes or comments on that video to this day. But back to your point about the one that we just posted of David, which was a trend, because you're supposed to call up your best guy friends and tell them good night, like really cringy. And so that was why we did it during the day. But if you looked at the comments, there were texts and guys that commented and said, what a great boss, or what a cool thing, right? So that's what they see. So that's where the value is. So would somebody say, have we sold a bunch of systems by posting on TikTok? No, but we got the people to put them in. So I'll work on, everything else in order to have that. There's so many things, like it's crazy. Now I'm very blessed to have a marketing manager, Lucy, and she does an amazing job. But like what she can get these guys to do, like two of my lead installer team, they're like jumping around in the parking lot because they're like they like each other and they made a TikTok out of it. Like it's great. And honestly, they love it because it again, it connects them to what we're doing. It's not just me and David out there being the face of everything, talking. It's them showing what they like to do and all of that. So I love it. I love to watch it. And here's the other cool thing I realized the other day. It's the history of Anchor from day one. We have been able to capture every bit of our growth, our change from our first brand to our rebrand to what we're doing now, our growth of how many people we have here. All of that is all captured there. So that's a really cool aspect of that too.
So let's shift gears a little bit. What are some things that you guys enjoy doing outside of TikTok and being working?
So me and David
Yeah.
bourbon a lot. We, as married business owners, you have to have something that is outside of what we do every day. And if you haven't figured it out or haven't followed us, we actually really like each other and we really like to spend time together. So we don't have many issues. Not that it's not stressful a lot of days, but we got into bourbon and then we found this really cool collection of bourbon, and we're able to buy about 300 bottles of really cool bourbon. So we have a whole bourbon den at our house. And that's just a fun thing that we share. It's a challenge to go to different places and try different stuff. When we were in Pensacola, we had a blast. You sent us to like the only place where we were jealous of their collection more than ours.
Oh, the Old Hickory.
Old
Yeah.
Hickory. Oh man, we had a
Yeah.
blast there. We went there twice. So that's really fun. And then the other thing is that we like to ride through the mud in side by sides. And I know we have that in common. So it's the place where we can get away, and
Yeah.
it's all still there. Like Anchor's still there. My buggy was purple. Now it's wrapped in flowers. David's buggy is purple. Our truck is purple. So our brand is always there, but it's our chance to work really hard during the week and be able to play really hard on the weekend, and have fun. And so that keeps us excited about coming back to work on Monday.
Yeah, it's definitely a good place to unplug, and that's something all of us share in common is we like getting out in the woods. We like getting
Yeah.
muddy, and we have a big trip coming up in a couple of weeks that we're all taking to Alabama to go side by side, and I'm guessing we'll probably have some pretty good footage that we'll share with people, and
I'm
after
positive.
that trip,
Well, listen,
I'm excited.
I'm all about the branding too. So we've branded ourselves. We have our own brand called High Proof Off Road. So we started that TikTok, and now we have 3,000 followers on that TikTok. Side by
Nice.
side.
Actually, I did not know that. I'm gonna have to follow that.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
Man, I'm still new to TikTok, right? So even on the podcast, I just started posting things on TikTok like a week or two, like very recent. And my daughter, we're going somewhere, and she's sitting in the back of the car, and she says, "Dad, you're on my," what did she say?
For you page.
You're on my For You page. I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Right.
And
That's good.
so that's what she said. She
Yeah.
said that's good. And I'm like, well, I feel like you might not be my target audience, but who knows?
Hey, it's all right. Yeah. It's fun. Again, like I said, I mean, we like branding.
Yeah.
We like being social, and so it was a great opportunity for us to marry our bourbon and our side by sides. And it's funny how many people follow us. And when we were at Deep Creek, people saw us and they knew our buggies and they knew our story and they knew we we have this really cool camper trailer that we call the Tramper. And so David did a whole tour of it, which let me just tell you who's the best on TikTok is David. You already said, like, he can just like turn it on in a second, and he's so unassuming, and like all his videos get way more views than mine, which is fine. I'm the producer, I guess, but he did this 3-minute tour of our Tramper. It got 37,000 views, so it's fun. Again, like we work 10-12 hours a day, and when we get home at night we can work on that stuff and have a different focus, and it keeps it fresh.
So I'm going to hit you with a couple of questions. You ready? So this is new to the podcast. So you're the first one. It's called the Freedom Fast 5. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions and just spitball an answer. Hopefully I won't stump you up too bad. But here's the first question. What's one thing that people would be surprised to know about you?
I like riding through the mud.
It's a good one. I like it. What does freedom look like for you as a business owner?
Freedom for me looks like a well-run company that I can be a part of, but I don't have to be in the business every single day running it, but I can be guiding it. And also the freedom to watch the people that we have brought in to work with us, the freedom to watch them be successful.
Great answer. What's one decision that created more freedom for you guys?
When we worked our butts off and we were able to hire our service manager extraordinaire, Stephanie, that was a game changer. David and I could focus on operations. He can focus on sales and technical, and she has the service department. And this is how you know that you have set the bar high, when you look at each other and go, our departments aren't doing as well as Steph's is. What's wrong?
I mean, that's good leadership, though. Like, train them to be better than you.
No doubt.
What's one leadership lesson you wish you would have learned earlier?
A leadership lesson that I wish I had learned earlier. Know when to go. Know when it's time. Sometimes you hold on to things too long, or maybe don't make decisions fast enough. And now I see the value in that. We get analysis paralysis sometimes. And so I think just sometimes you just have to make the decision, even if it's scary or you don't have all the information. If you have 51% of the information and your gut tells you, like, go, do it right then.
And if it's not right, adjust.
Do it again.
All right, last, this is the 5th one. You ready?
I'm ready.
If you could give one piece of advice to a business owner trying to grow, what would it be?
You have to, I think it would be back to your marketing, like, I think you have to get back to your roots and really dig deep into your community, and become a good community member. When you're trying to grow, like, when you're trying to grow, it's not outside of you, it's inside of you. Right? So you keep looking, we as contractors all the time are looking for the silver bullet. We're looking for the marketing company that's going to be the answer. We're looking for the marketing piece that's going to be the answer. We're looking for why somebody else is doing better when what they're doing right now. Really, it's you, right? Have you created a great culture? Are you a great leader? Are you a great operator? Have you created great processes and procedures? And if the answer is no to any of those, then go back to number 1 and start over, right? That's what it is. Like, you have to be a reflective leader. So you can try to grow all you want, but if any of those things are not getting the right answer, like, you're just not going to grow. You might grow, but you're not going to grow profitably. right? Like you might grow revenue wise, but like, are you making all the right decisions on the operations side? You know, do you have great marketing? Are you wasting money? Like when you're looking for the silver bullet, like you're looking in the wrong place. It's usually in the mirror.
Yeah, I was going to say, in my experience, the silver bullet is what people don't want. Is hard work. It's putting things in place and doing the things, like doing the work.
Yeah.
Stephanie, I appreciate you coming on. There's still a ton of stuff I wanted to cover. I would love to be able to have you come back because there's some other stuff that we really want to talk about.
Absolutely.
And I know we're going to do some stuff when we're in the woods.
Yes.
That we'll share with people too. But as we wrap up, what any kind of final thoughts you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I don't want it to get lost on the social media aspect and the marketing aspect and all of that kind of stuff. The culture part, where we do fun stuff and we look like a really cool place to be. The other part that I think people forget on the culture side is that really culture is about creating a place for your employees to show up every day where they can expect or they know what's going to happen. Like when they show up at work, they know they're going to get this call. They know they're going to have these tools. They know that these are the rules. They know this is how we talk to customers. And to be honest, that's really culture. When you have all of those things in place, then it makes the TikToks and the parties and the gifts and the community stuff and all of that, it just accentuates those things. But if you don't have proper operations and proper procedures and stuff in place that create that foundation of culture, you can't have all the rest because it's really hollow. So I don't want you to listen and go, oh man, if we just have a TikTok and we look really cute and fun, we're going to be a great company. That's not the case. Right? There's a lot of hard decisions that have to get made about how we go to the door, how we talk to customers, how we treat them, our level of expectation. You know, we do what we say we're going to do. We show up when we say we're going to show up, and we exceed expectations every time. That's the Pearl Promise. And so when we do those things, it gives us the foundation to do all the other fun things. So I think sometimes we lose that when we talk about culture.
Stephanie, dropping value bombs everywhere. That's so good. That's great information. If somebody wants to check you guys out on the social media channels, what's some that they can check out?
Yeah, our Facebook, anchorheatingandair.com, or our website, Anchor Heating and Air LLC on Facebook and Anchor Heating and Air LLC on TikTok. And then, of course, I'm Stephanie Webb Postell is my Facebook. David is David Postell Jr. So definitely friend us. We always like if you'll let us know why you're friending us. Sometimes people just want to be friends for some weird reason. So reach out. You know, I love when people message me, or my email address is spostell@anchorheatingandair.com. I love an email, and I'd love to connect. I'd get on. I have a Calendly, and I'm happy to get on with people and do a Zoom and just talk about, you know, what you need to work on or what I can help you with. Only thing I ask is that you implement something I tell you to do, because my time is valuable and so is yours.
That's fantastic. Stephanie, thank you so much. This is going to be part one of part several. We're going to do several of these because there is so much good information that I would love for you to share with the audience. So
I appreciate it.
But until we catch up again, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for the opportunity. I'll see you soon.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services, and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.